In my life before YouTube, I was a technical trainer in mobile telecommunications. I delivered training on the rollout of 2.5G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. And I remember back in 2007, when 40% of the mobile phones that shipped in the world were made by Nokia. This emerging smartphone technology, 80% of all smartphones, had Symbian running as an operating system. And we heard that this upstart technology company from America called Apple were about to release a new phone, and everyone laughed. That phone was the iPhone. It was designed by a Brit called Jonny Ive, and it changed mobile phones forever. This is a new Ferrari. It's all electric, and it's been designed by Sir Jonny Ive, Marc Newsom, and the team at Lovefrom. The question is, will this car change the world of electric cars forever? Welcome to the Ferrari Luce. Now, when any new car launches, especially one as anticipated as a new Ferrari, a little bit of controversy, I think, is always a good thing. And I can imagine that there's going to be some divided opinion on this car. Let me just quickly walk you around some of the design elements on the outside, then we'll delve into some of the details. First things first, this car has the lowest drag coefficient of any Ferrari road car in history. They've done huge numbers of CFD run-throughs, lots of time in the wind tunnel. But I guess if we start at the front, we had a sit down with Marc Newsom and the guys from Lovefrom, and they talked about some really interesting things. They wanted the lights, for example, to sit in the car, and unless they were illuminated, you wouldn't necessarily see that they're there. So I love the way the lights sit in here. And then you've got this big, effectively an S duct. And in this colorway with the black and the yellow kind of helps us see that. But you can see the airflow. And what they really wanted was a clean airflow all the way under that S duct, all the way up the windscreen. And then they thought, what about the windscreen wipers? And the windscreen wipers are one of the standout features on the outside of this car for sure, because they sit either side of the windscreen, well out of the airflow. So I think that is a striking part of this design. We come around the side. I'm going to talk about the wheels in a moment because I'm not necessarily a huge fan. Round the back of the car, and I get vibes of Alfa Romeo, Zagato, Fiat Coupe, this kind of sort of rear hip here. The other thing you will notice, though, is this isn't a supercar. It is a four-door, five-seat car. The first time in Ferrari history that there are 5 seats in a car. It is a proper family car. And there's this glass house methodology where I love the way that the side profile kind of comes up here, and it's almost like the interior of the car sits inside the bodywork. Really striking. We'll look on the inside very shortly because that's very special. And then when you come around the rear of the car, the rear lighting again sits into the back of the car, but it's got harks back to 360 Modena to 458, these signature round lights. I love that bit of heritage, but I also like the fact that it's almost like there's a car inside a car. You've got this wing here, this aero element, and it looks like the glass comes down here, and this sits inside that. Really striking. So I can imagine there's some of you sitting there going, that's really cool. Some of you thinking, that's awful, it doesn't look like a Ferrari. But let's dive into some of the numbers. Now, I am going to cheat a little bit here. We've only got half an hour with the car, and I want to get all my numbers right, so I've got my notes with me. Let's just talk about development of EV for Ferrari. Although this is Ferrari's first full-blown battery electric vehicle, they've been doing hybrids for some time. 599 high Kers, then you've got things like the LaFerrari, you've got the SF90 and 296 now, and that learning, that development on the road car program in terms of battery and motor tech. And then if you think about the stuff that's happening in F1, that's their learning. First thing to say, everything, just like the philosophy of every other Ferrari, is done in-house. Batteries, motor, all the kind of components in the car are made in-house. It's based on an 800-volt architecture, and the battery is a structural element of the car. So really, the underlying chassis has had a huge impact on how the interior can be, and vice versa. Arguably, to do a 5-seat car like this with a V8 or a V12 would be really challenging, because where would the engine go? There are some 210 battery cells in the car, placed strategically. A lot of them are a functional part of the chassis. Well, that gives the car a very low center of gravity. Center of gravity of this is 95 millimeters lower than pura sangue, so the car sits really low in its center of gravity, which will enhance handling and performance. Total weight is 2,260 kilos, so it's not lightweight, but for a 5-seat car, it's not too bad. And then the size of the battery is pretty chunky. It's 122 kilowatt hour battery capacity. But because this car is based on 800-volt architecture, it supports up to 350 kilowatt DC charging. So you can get lots of charge into the car really, really quickly. So Luce is 4-wheel drive. So it has a motor on each wheel. On the front axle, there are 2 motors producing a combined output of 280 horsepower, but the torque figures are ridiculous. Torque at the wheels, 3,500 Newton meters. The motors on the front axle have a maximum RPM of 30,000 RPM, but really interestingly, the inverters are integrated into the front axle as well. And the inverters are the things that are going to basically recuperate kinetic energy back into the battery under regenerative braking. And the front axle can deliver 300 kilowatts of power back into the battery under braking. Really, really impressive. Now, I need to talk about the wheels on this car. There are 2 wheel designs, but the wheel sizes, it's 24 inches on the front axle, 24 inches on the back axle. So a staggered setup, the biggest wheels I've seen on a car in recent times. And then let's briefly talk about the tires. So Ferrari worked with 3 different tire manufacturers. I managed to bag myself a car on Michelin's. So it's on the Pilot Sport 5 Energy tire. They are K1 marked, so they are OEM stamped, specifically designed for this car. And I think if you think about the things that this tire has to be able to deal with, firstly, huge amounts of power and torque. You want to have the longevity in the tire as well. But then also, because it's an EV, efficiency becomes really, really important, and also NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. So a really challenging task for the tire manufacturers to make a tire that can deal with the demands given to it by Luce. The wheel design, these are the aero wheels. They're going to be brilliant for lowering the drag coefficient, making it more efficient. Unfortunately, I really don't like the design at all. The cars that are here that are on the 5-spoked wheels look so much better. So yeah, that is definitely a case of function over form. Sorry, Ferrari. 24 inches. In fact, this tire is a 315/30 ZR24. Absolutely massive. But the power requirements that are put through this. So again, a pair of synchronous permanent magnet motors on the back axle. Total power output, 830 horsepower. Unbelievable. Total torque at the wheels, 8,000 Newton meters. Now, you have to be a bit careful because that is the theoretical maximum torque output. In practice, you're never going to get anywhere near that actually on the road, but a huge amount of torque coming through the rear. The rear motors rev to 25,000 RPM. But the amazing thing, the inverter on the rear axle can deliver power back into the battery at 600 kilowatts. That's nearly twice as much as the highest speed charging you can plug this car into. So really good regen braking on the rear axle. Now, I've got to say, as venues go for a launch, this one is pretty spectacular. It is quite hot in here though, but I've told you the numbers. Let's have a chat about performance figures. So 0 to 62 time in this car quoted at 2.5 seconds with a top speed of 310 kilometers an hour. That's just over 190 miles an hour, which for an EV is a lot. And a maximum power output of 1,050 horsepower in boost mode. And apparently it will do just over 530 kilometers on a full charge, but I bet it won't do that when you're driving it like you've stolen it in boost mode. What about handling? Well, the really cool thing is the car has exactly the same suspension system that we first saw in F80 and also in Pura Sangue. So it's a multimatic system. In each corner, you've basically got a suspension unit that adapts the ride of the car 200 times a second. I've driven Pura Sangue and the ride quality in that is phenomenal. So that's a really good thing for the Luce. In terms of sound, I think this is where Ferrari had a real challenge because they are so known for their V8 and V12 soundtracks. Clearly this is an EV, but what I love is they haven't tried to fake an engine noise, an internal combustion engine noise. They've embraced the fact that this is an electric car. And actually they pick up on the mechanical noises that the motors are making and they enhance that a little bit like the pickups on an electric guitar do. And they feed that back into the cabin. So I haven't heard the noise yet, but it's embracing the fact this car is electric. All of the components are made in Maranello. The motors are made in Maranello, just like the V12s that you find in Purasangue. So why not embrace the noise that that electric motor makes and just do something a little bit different? And I really, really like that. Oh, open sesame. Very similar doors to those that you find in Purasangue. A little button there just to close them. I've got to say, the interior of this car is a special place. Firstly, there's 5 seats, first time in any Ferrari, but it's the switchgear, it's the materials and the finish. These grab handles here are they just have a lovely spring weight on them. It's the little things. The vents, you twist them and they open and they just, again, have this tactility, this feel. All the switches have a lovely click. It's a very, very special place in the back. And actually loads and loads of room for me. But for me, it's what happens in the front. The cockpit for the driver in Luce is something very, very special. Ferrari released the first press stuff around this interior a couple of months ago now. And when I saw it, I instantly fell in love with the design. Let me start with the steering wheel. It is so simple, but so iconic of racing Ferraris of the past. It's just got a nice 3-spoke design, but it's made from billet with a lovely leather wrap around it, and you can change the colors and so on. On the central part of the steering wheel, you've got the normal Manettino that you would find in a Ferrari. It's got ice, wet, dry, sport, and then ESC off modes. But on the left-hand side, you've got the E Manettino, which basically helps you work out how you're going to drive this car. So you've got a range mode, which basically puts it in rear wheel drive only, and it backs the power down and makes it more efficient. Then you go through to Tour, and then eventually the top mode gives you all the beans, 4-wheel drive, off you go. It's a beautiful thing. The button tactility for your indicators. Now, you've got some flappy paddles. This isn't a fake gearbox, it's a torque delivery system. So on the way up, you pull the paddle and it basically, it's rather than having one continual torque curve, it gives you 6 steps in a torque curve to give you more driver engagement. And on the way down, think of it like adaptive regenerative braking. So as you come into a corner, you'd pull down and you get a slightly different torque mapping and feed more energy back into the battery through the inverter. The main instrument binnacle is a thing of wonder. It's ironic for me that Jonny Ive was the guy who invented the iPhone and arguably removed all buttons from phones. Before then, people said, you've got to have QWERTY keyboards. It killed off BlackBerry. And now every smartphone has a touch screen. Him and Marc and their team have been responsible for bringing back switchgear and buttons. And I think that's wonderful. The main instrument binnacle is an electronic display, but it has this analog feel to it. This central display, what I love about it, firstly, this little bar here. So when you're driving, you can rest your hand on it and play with the switchgear. But the feel of the switchgear, your passenger can have a look. There's a little analog clock in the top. It's wonderful. The key itself changes its opacity when you put it in there to start the car. It just absolutely wonderful. I'm not a big fan of the gear selector, if I'm honest. That isn't one of my favorite parts of the car. Then the final bit, launch control. You have some roof mounted modes. This here, look, that you pull that to engage launch control. It's very helicopter-esque. You might argue it's a completely pointless feature, but the feel it gives you, I think that is absolutely exceptional. This is how car interiors should be made. It's modular. It would be great to think that Ferrari would take some of these concepts and put them in the future of their road car program, because honestly, it is the nicest, most tactile, most beautifully made interior of any car I've sat in, full stop. It is the highlight of this car. Whether you have issues with the exterior styling or not, I think we can agree the interior has been done perfectly. And there's not a bit of piano black scratchy plastic in here. Wonderful. So as I come to the end of my time slot, what are my final thoughts on the new Ferrari Luce? Well, I think it's going to be a very controversial car. The internet is going to love it. The comment section will light up, I'm sure. I have to say it's a very color dependent car. The red one over there, I think looks way better than this particular colorway. And I think the wheels, if you've got the spoke wheels, that looks better as well. But I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I guess my final thought is, why are Ferrari doing an EV? Well, firstly, the world is going electrification for sure. But actually, as a showcase of technologies, a showcase of what they can do, it was a natural progression for them as a brand. I remember when I first drove Purosangue, I asked, why make a big kind of large family car? And the response I got was, look, many of our owners have multiple cars. They'll have maybe several V8 mid-engine supercars. They'll have a couple of V12 cars. But when you go to their house, their big family car is a Range Rover or a Bentley Bentayga. And that's why they made Purosangue. That same customer may well want to have an EV in their stable, and that's potentially why they've made Luce. But I think actually this is a car that will bring in new owners, new customers into the Ferrari brand. People who've not owned Ferraris before will look at this, and as a piece of technology and a piece of industrial design, it is next level. The thought has gone into this, I think, will bleed into car design for generations to come. I honestly think it's that revolutionary. You may well like or dislike the exterior design, but when you spend time with this car, when you look at the details, it is an exceptional piece of design. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe. I'm going to spend as much time as I can soaking in the details before I get kicked off the stage.